When I think of the term Schmovement, I think of CS Surf, a movement minigame so satisfying to watch that it essentially became the industry standard for background gameplay on YouTube. But you know what's much more satisfying than watching Surf? Playing it. And a big part of that satisfaction comes from its difficulty. Learning to slide on ramps is like learning to ride a bike. It's a lot harder than it looks, and building the muscle memory and intuition to pull it off takes a lot of trial and error, and a lot of failure. But like riding a bike, once you learn, you never really forget, and once you learn, you unlock a euphoric flow state of floaty, effortless gliding at Mach 10 speeds, a kind of high that can only be achieved through the process of mastering a well-made movement system. Ever since the earliest video games, movement has been a foundational part of gameplay, but while in a lot of games today, movement consists of walking, running, fancy vault animations, and squeezing between gaps, in this video, I want to look at games that put movement at the forefront of gameplay by taking it in all new creative directions. Now what's really creative about this game is actually how restrictive the movement is. There's no sliding, wall jumping, or dashing. All you can do is run and jump, but you can get abilities from these cards. On top of being guns, cards can be consumed to use a specific movement ability, and by having limited ammo for your abilities, it forces you to be more calculated in how you use them. It has that same smooth, floaty feeling of Surf, but without the speed, so instead of being mechanically intensive, the challenge is in finding the shortest path to the finish while still killing all the enemies. Take this level. If I was doing it the normal way, I'd jump up here, kill this guy, jump up the pillars, bounce off this platform, break down the door, and run through to the stairs. Or I could just bop, and I'm already there. Neon White is all about solving the puzzle of how to best use your cars to create the fastest route, and that process of finding all the sneaky shortcuts and optimizations to get the platinum medal is super rewarding. The only downside is that once you've figured out the levels, there's not much point in going back for another playthrough. Also, the dialogue is awful.
You are my Sasuke, man. The darkness to my light.
But they do at least give you a movement option to deal with that. B tier. Ghost Runner is a whole other thing. Instead of floaty and smooth, Ghost Runner is rapid and intense, and it starts out really strong with wall running, this little dash, and the ability to slow down time to dodge bullets, which all combine to create a fluid and intuitive movement system that encourages you to tackle fights in your own way. What's disappointing though is that instead of focusing on creating interesting and varied levels that allow you to find unique solutions through movement, Ghost Runner's focuses more on adding new mechanics like zip lines, parrying bullets, hacking, focus attacks, and a grappling hook, all of which sound great, but the problem is that although there are a lot of mechanics here, none of them are particularly fleshed out. To hack something, you right click, that's it. The grappling hook can only be used on predetermined hook points, and while there are 4 different types of focus attacks, there might as well be 1, because they all basically do the same thing. And because all of these mechanics are so rigid, it's rare that you can get creative in how you use them. The enemies have a similar problem. They add these shield guys, brawlers, and swordsmen, which are all cool at first, but they're so restrictive in how they can be killed that they end up taking away a lot of your freedom in how you approach each level. By far the worst part of this game though is the cybervoid sections, which stop the game in its tracks so you can do some dumbass puzzle or lame platforming. In a game that's all about speed, these kind of hits to the pacing are death. I know it probably sounds like I hate this game, but I actually had a lot of fun playing through it and experimenting with the movement wherever I could. It's just frustrating to see a game with so much missed potential. C tier. Now if you want to give the player a million tools to toy around with, you want to do it like Ultrakill. This game has absolutely zero restraint in its implementation of mechanics. You got a dash, wall jump, sliding, ground slam, slide jump, parry, and 5 weapons each with 3 different variants. But what's really clever about Ultrakill is how it manages to give you all of these tools without being too overwhelming. At the start, these mechanics kind of feel superfluous because you can basically just run around and shoot stuff. But as you progress, the enemies get more aggressive and the boss fights more intense, constantly pushing you to engage more and more with the movement to survive. On top of that, Ultrakill is a buffet of inventive ideas and environments. You start out in this industrial hellscape, but then you go to a nice garden. The garden was fake, so you go to the sand levels where the floor is lava. They give you a grappling hook just before the underwater levels, then you go to outer space, but it's okay because you can rocket jump. And this stream of new mechanics keeps going and going until you're fighting a boss that lives inside of a mirror, and the fabric of space-time is warping around you. Unfortunately, this stream of mechanics all culminates in the worst boss fight in the game, which is absolutely miserable to play because they take away the movement which made the game so unique, and replace it with a janky, unintuitive mess. But despite ending on a sour note, the depth and complexity of its systems and the willingness of the game to let you push it to its limits are what make Ultrakill so fun, and the kind of game you'll appreciate even more on a second playthrough. A tier. And finally, on the exact opposite end of the spectrum is Katana Zero. The first input you make teaches you that you can reflect bullets. Then you roll through a laser, do some wall jumps, and slow down time to walk through a fan, and within 1 minute you have learnt 100% of the game's mechanics. This approach of keeping movement relatively simple allows for more intentional level design, with room layouts and enemy placement that force you to be strategic, but still allow for a ton of creativity. Just in this one room I could say this, I could do this, or I could jump up on the clothesline, come up here, kill this guy, and drop down on these guys from above. Meanwhile, Katana Zero's crowning achievement is the attention to detail put into its presentation. This game has atmosphere in droves. At the start of each mission, Zero stops to put in a cassette. The elevator dials in this level actually show the elevator moving down. I mean, look at the Murdower Hotel sign. How are you not gonna love that? Katana Zero is the perfect blend of simple systems and complex levels, where precise controls, smart design, inspired art direction, and one-shot kills all work in harmony to create an immensely satisfying gameplay loop that once you pick up, you won't want to put down. And on top of all of that, it does something that no other games in this video have. It has a story that's actually worth telling. S tier.